Okay, so you took her home, and you're about 3 days into it. Take us back. What happened then?
Well, we got home on a Tuesday and we were called that she didn't have an oxygen level check. And they said we could stay home for the night and come back Wednesday morning. So we went back Wednesday morning and she never passed her oxygen level check. So they kept us overnight. And from there, the next morning, the doctor noticed that her heart murmur had changed. And so he sent us straight to Rochester.
So, was there holes in her heart?
She had two holes in her heart wall, and they were repaired when she was about 3 weeks old.
So, when you're getting news like that, what did that do to you and your husband?
Oh, it was like every time a doctor had something to say to us, it was not good news. It was very stressful. And plus, we had little Deacon at home. He was 3 at the time.
He's
And
telling you he was 4.
He was 4.
All right, we'll go with 4. Should we go with 4, Deacon? We're going to go with 4. All right.
So it was a great deal of stress, and it was very worrisome because you don't know what to expect and if we were even going to be able to bring her home.
Was there surgeries involved?
She had she had open heart surgery, like I said, when she was about 3 weeks old, and that was actually one of the pictures. She had cataract surgery. She had cataracts in her left and her right eye, so they did one week and then the other eye the next week. Before we left the hospital, they had done an MRI of her brain.
Did they know why any of this happened?
No, they just think it was a chromosome abnormality. Sorry.
Wow, no, it's okay. No, this is wiry time. We all
Right.
know that. So now there's just been some new, in addition to her eye. What happened with that? Is that a new?
Her left eye, she had glaucoma in, and her retina detached about 2 years ago, I think it was, a year ago. And they did surgery. The surgery went well, but the scar tissue, the scar tissue healed over. So they've actually put a prosthetic shell over her left eye now, and she is not able to use it at this time.
So how long has that been there? A couple weeks, maybe.
The shell just got placed 2 weeks ago in Eau Claire. She's doing pretty good with it. Obviously.
And this is an active 4-year-old.
Right.
I mean, I can't even imagine, having them have this surgery. At this point, before we even get back to this, I was thinking, you know what? You have 2 children, and you have an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old. Let's split it down the middle, and why don't we ask for like 6 calls to come in? We're already there. So we're going to have to go higher than that. You know what? I think we're going to go for 10 calls. Should we do that?
Sure.
Let's just bounce this number off them. It's 781-1477 or 1-800-853-6889. So we're over halfway there.
Yeah.
So what's a daily routine in your house?
Actually, it's gotten a lot easier than it had been, obviously. She was sent home on a feeding tube and stuff, and since then that's been taken out. And
Is she eating normal?
yeah,
Normal
she still
meals?
eats like a little bird. She's still a tiny little thing. But in the morning, she gets eye drops in both eyes, and then now we have to put that shell in. And then before she goes to bed at night, we take the shell out, and she gets eye drops. But other than that, she's going to 4K half days in Whitehall and doing great.
So you live in Osseo, go to school in Whitehall,
Yeah.
and you do a lot of your doctoring here. When you heard of Children's Miracle Network hospitals, how did they help you?
We first heard about them actually in Rochester, just because we had been there for about, I think it ended up being 42 days or something like that. The social workers had talked to us about just getting some help just for bills and stuff.
How did you feel about that when somebody said, do you want help? How did that...
It was very nice to know it's out there. It's kind of hard at first to
accept it?
Right, but we knew we needed it. We went from, my husband came to the hospital a lot to begin with, so we were having zero income at that time because I was off on maternity leave, and we knew partially in that I obviously wouldn't be going back to work because we just, too many doctors, and with the feeding tube, we had a hard time finding daycare for her. So it was a great relief to have some organization like this there to help.
What did they do for you?
They actually sent us a check. We didn't do the vouchers. I don't know if I even knew about them, truthfully, but now I do know about them. But they just sent us a check to kind of help with the bills and with gas and just staying there, the cost of staying there. I mean, we ended up staying with a friend, which was grateful, but you still got to eat every day. You got to drive to the hospital every day. You got to pay for parking at the hospital every day.
When people are thinking about this, thinking about making a donation to Children's Miracle Network hospitals, first of all, it stays local. Second of all, it helps families like yours. So what would be something that you would like to tell our listeners that would motivate them to pick up the phone and know that this was going to be a good thing to do?
I listened to the story before us today, and if anyone's been listening all day, there's just so many things out there that you don't realize happen to babies and little kids, and it takes a toll on the whole family. And whether it's gas money or a lunch or something that they don't have to worry about, it's just amazing.
Would it surprise you to know that Emerson's grandma called?
Oh, no, it
Would
would
that
not, because
surprise
she's
you?
amazing.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
You want to say I love you, Grandma or Mom? I think you should tell her that
Oh.
because she just called.
Emerson.
Emerson, well, you'll have to let her know
Oh,
that
yes.
Grandma called because, isn't that special?
Oh, that's amazing. She's a wonderful woman that's taken very good care of us.
Well, you know what? I think what we should do is appeal to the grandmas and the grandpas right now at 781-1477. Emerson,
Tammy,
guess who
thank you.
just called?
Thank you.
Say
her.
thank you, Grandma.
Thank you, Mama.
Love you.
Mama.
I love you, Grandma. Did you hear that? Grandma heard that. I bet Grandma heard that. I'm sure she did. So I think what we'll do is we'll throw it out there, 781-1477, because we just have a couple more calls to go. We have like 3 more calls to go to make that 10 call
Sweet.
goal. And we have Verve Credit Union over here. Hi, you guys. Let's hear a little noise. Boy, they did that very well, didn't they? Excellent. I'm sorry, whoever's on the phone can't hear a thing, but that's okay. That's just how we do things around here. So our location here is in a beautiful lobby at Gunderson Health System. We've invited people to come by to see us because sometimes it's kind of hard to explain people what we're doing here. But when you're listening with your heart instead of your ears, you can figure out what we're doing here. 781-1477. So where are we at now? What's happening in the future?
Still a lot of therapy. She has occupational and physical therapy and obviously some speech therapy.
From last year,
Yep.
from when Emerson is here, I'm really, really able to understand her so much better this year. Of course, I only see her once or twice a year.
Right.
So that seems to be going very well.
Yep, she works hard. She does. Everyone does. Her teachers, everyone. But therapy, we see the eye doctor a couple times. Well, probably about every 3 months we go to the eye doctor. And then she sees the ear, nose, and throat doctor for her speech and stuff. They do a scope probably every 6 months we've been going now. Just maintaining, hopefully continuing with good work she's been doing. And
What
she'll tell
happens when you
us.
take Emerson to the doctor? Is she ever afraid or scared or not wanting to go?
Yes and no. She's so used to it. It's kind of, she was born and we stayed at a doctor all the time. So she's very used to it. There are things she obviously doesn't like they had to mold that eye last 2 weeks ago, and she did not like that.
For some people, it's difficult to just put in eye drops
Oh, yeah.
into your eyes. And it is. I
Yep.
mean, it just is. But think about having a cap or a lens put on your eye and being 4 years old.
Right. And
She's
so
very brave.
she does a great job. She's been through things that I don't think I could ever go through as an adult.
How's her heart doing?
We actually should be getting a checkup pretty soon. I think the last one was about 2 years ago, and we were told 3 years from there. So, good. We had a few EKGs back when they were still monitoring it, and everything was good. They don't expect change on that, thank goodness.
Well, coming in here today and sharing these stories and hearing from Grandma on the phone. It's very emotional. But you know what? The only way that we can tell a story is to have you tell the story. So thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate you and your family. And we'll visit again one of these days. Would that be okay?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
Thank you for
great.
having us.
You bet. You're listening to the Children's Miracle Network Radiothon, a service of the La Crosse Radio Group.